All right, good afternoon, councillors and staff and members of the public gallery. Welcome to our May Ordinary Council meeting. First of all, I would get to it. Please be advised that this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed. We're speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded and live streamed. Please ensure that if and when you speak, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. The Geelong Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. The recording of this meeting will be made publicly available on Council's website. All right, before I call the first item, I'd just like to make note and special mention on our thoughts with the Mid-North Coast going through the flooding and the disaster. We know what that's all about, and they've had one massive event up there. So our thoughts are with them. First item, application for leave of absence. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor Jones. We have a full house, so I'll put that. All those in favour? Oh, she's away. Oh. All right. That's a gear there. Is it? Oh, you spread yourself out a bit. All right. Well, we have one from Councillor O'Ryan. Stage. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 2, declarations of interest. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Rawson. Does anybody have anything to declare? I've got nothing. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 3, declaration for political donations. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Nash, seconded by Councillor Weaver. Does anybody have anything to declare? I've got nothing. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 4 is mayoral minute of appointment. I'll move that, and I've tabled the report. I know Councillor Rawson has, Councillor Jones has, Councillor Weaver has, Councillor Pearson you have? Yep, thank you. Everybody else? Yep, Councillor Nash. Councillor Batten, tabled. Heidi, they're all obeying. All right. Councillor Jones.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. Can I just make a very quick comment just regarding the town presentation team here in Molong and the feedback from the Anzac Day service? Just thanking them. There was a lot of positive comments from the community about the main street and the village green, and also the Molong RSL sub-branch. Would also like to acknowledge them and thank them for their work.
Thank you for that. Any other comment for the mayoral minute appointment? But I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 5 is the mayoral minute acknowledgement of the Central New South Wales Jail Executive Officer's retirement. So I'll move that, and it's in the report there, but Jenny's done an exceptional job working in her role before that as at Centroc as well. As the report indicates, she started off as a councillor and she's dedicated most of her career to local government, and she will be very, very much missed by the local government sphere, but in particular the Central West. She's done a tremendous amount of work there, and see the cost savings that she's done for the whole of the region has been incredible. Any other comment at all on that? Yeah, Councillor Rawson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I just want to reiterate the same comments. Being an associate member of the JO board, as chair of CTW, I get to go along to the JO meetings and be more involved in the operations of the JO. I found it to be a very professional organisation, and that's to a large extent due to Jenny's leadership of that group over such a long period of time under its old guys as Centroc and new guys as the JO. And she's built around her a team of professionals who do a lot of advocacy work between councils in our region and the state government in particular, and also with the federal government. That advocacy work takes a lot of pressure off us as individual councils because it affects everybody, and I heartily concur with your comments, Mr. Mayor, and wish her very well in her retirement.
Thank you very much. Well said. All right, any further comment? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 6 is, sorry? Unanimously. Item 6 is Committee of the Whole. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Does anybody wish to call on the items in Committee of the Whole? Button.
Couple there that I suspect we will want to discuss a bit further. Item 14, item 18, and in the supplementary 23, I think it is. 23? 23.
Does anybody else who wish to put anything in Committee of the Whole? Nope. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, carried. Item 7 is confirmation of minutes, which is the April Ordinary Council meeting, May Environmental, and the May Infrastructure meeting. Do I have a mover and a seconder, please? By Councillor Jones, second by Councillor Rawson. Any discussion on the minutes at all? Nope. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 8 is the New South Wales Rural Doctors Network Bush Bursary Scholarship Program. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Weaver, second by Councillor Nash. Any discussion on that at all? Councillor Weaver.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say this has been a success since its inception. I know that Dr. Bullock in Canowindra has had a fair bit to do with organising some of this over the time, and the feedback we're getting from it is really good. You know, the young people, the experiences that they're getting, I think it is great, and I think it's a great initiative. So, yep, fully in agreement with it.
Thank you, well said, and I agree totally, yep. Councillor Rawson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'd just like to say the same comments, and I really enjoyed reading through the reports from both these students. See one talk about snipping off a polyp in a colonoscopy for the first time, and also the first time he'd experienced a birth. For anyone involved in either of those things, they're pretty amazing experiences. And to have it, but the passion was there basically, and the passion for country medicine, for being a rural doctor, was clearly evident in these reports. And I congratulate Dr. Bullock in particular, and the others involved in that program. I think it's a magnificent program which we should continue to support.
Thank you. I probably agree with you about the birth side of things, but the polyp, anyway. All right. Any further comment? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 9, Arts and Culture Collections Policy. Move in a second, please. Councillor Batten, seconded by Councillor Rawson. Any discussion on the Arts Culture Collection Policy? Nope. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, carried. Item 10, Union Picnic Day for 2025. Move in a second. Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Nash. Any issues with the picnic day? Nope. Councillor Nash.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor. I just wonder, we used to go to this once, like the councillors were invited, and I think we'd miss out on meeting and talking to our workers in the council. I just wonder whether we could be invited again or not.
Look, I don't know, but I guess it's a union picnic day and you have to be a member of the union, I think. But anyway, the general manager might.
Mr Mayor, and unfortunately I'm speaking from experience of previous councils, there has been a little bit of a change in the culture of and the way these union picnics are done through the USU. So they are for their members, very much so, and obviously having elected officials, as much as we would like you to mix with our staff, etc., even to the point where really, as the Mayor said, membership is generally, it's a union function, it's not council's function. What council does is facilitate the day for that to take place, but it's not actually our function to invite councillors or others. If the union was to invite councillors, that would be a matter for the union. Does that make sense? So it has evolved over many years. It used to be almost the whole of council day. Now these days it's very much based on that union membership and fellowship.
Thank you very much. Maybe we could organise something else then, you know, like a barbecue or something, sometime that we could all get together.
Any? Oh, Councillor Weaver?
Oh, yes, just a cryptic one. I wondered if they're all going to dress up for Halloween, if it's going to be on that date.
Very good pickup, eh? Maybe if it was the 13th. Any further discussion? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 11 is strategic policy register review. Move on to seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Rawson, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Any discussion on the policy register? Nope. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, carried. Thank you, everybody. Item 12, Local Government Remuneration Tribunal Annual Determination 2025. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Nash, seconded by Councillor Jones. Any discussion on remuneration? Councillor Batt.
Yeah, I have just a question, Mayor, something that we might think about in future. The decision right now, the policy is that we adopt the upper level payment for councillors. And I understand one of the major reasons that is to encourage people that, you know, may not necessarily be in a position to actually come and act as a councillor without reasonable remuneration. But I wonder whether it's time to actually review that and actually look at whether we can give flexibility in the future. So we don't actually have to sit at the upper level. Some councillors may in the future want to decide to say have less remuneration. Just a question for the future, I think, rather than
Comment taken. Any other discussion at all? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 13 is a quarterly budget review. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Jones, second by Councillor Poole. Any discussion on the quarterly budget review? Nothing? Happy? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, carried. Item 14 is in Committee of the Whole. Item 15 is relocation of the Molong Hockey Field, CAP 24001, tender contract 1810633. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Weaver, second by Councillor Poole. Pretty self-explanatory. Better in our favour. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, carried. Item 16, Village Enhancement Fund 24-25. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Poole, thank you. Second by Councillor Nash. Any discussion on the Village Enhancement Fund? All right. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 17 is the Events Assistance Program. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Poole, second by Councillor Weaver. Everybody okay with the recommendation? 1,500 to the Canaldra Show Society, 1,500 to the Canaldra Yard Dog Trials. All happy with that? All right. Done. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 18 is in Committee of the Whole. Item 19 is questions for next meeting. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Poole, second by Councillor Pearson. Does anybody have any questions for next meeting? Councillor Pearson. Don't forget your microphone.
A resident has contacted me regarding the re-erection of the notice board on Ophir Road just before Spring Glen turn-off. They just asked me to ask council to if they can provide an indication of when this will be completed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Taken on notice, Councillor Pearson, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for next meeting? Nope. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 20 is business paper items for noting. Mover and a second. Thank you, Councillor Poole. Seconded by Councillor Weaver. Anybody wish to call out any of those items for noting? Councillor Jones?
I'll call item 2, the emergency services levy, please.
Thank you. Item 2. Anybody wish to call any other items out? No? All right, yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I will touch, without calling upon it, touch briefly in my comments on the, item number 1, the inquiry into the ability of local government. But just looking at this emergency services levy, obviously council, as our general manager would say, we're price takers, not price setters. So this financial year or next financial year, we've got a 4.4% rate increase as determined by IPART. Yet the burden placed upon us through state government shifting costs through the emergency services levy is 6%. We all know costs have gone up for a number of things, but it's quite interesting to note that this report follows straight on from that inquiry that the New South Wales Parliament recently held and the government response to that. And recommendation 15 of that report says that the New South Wales government should identify opportunities to reduce cost shifting for local government and undertake greater consultation with local government prior to making decisions that may result in cost shifting. I find it quite ironic and frustrating that local government sector in New South Wales, and I know there's a federal inquiry as well, so I would say local government across Australia, but including here in Cabonne, we're struggling financially to be able to continue to maintain the services and improve our towns, especially in regional councils where we don't have that opportunity to put on additional costs for services, etc. We're a pretty plain sort of council. It's frustrating that we're continuing to see that cost burden shifted upon us whilst trying to make ends meet for our communities. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And well said. It's well and truly documented about the cost shifting, especially in that emergency services levy department. That couldn't agree more. But there is some headway being made, but very slowly. All right. Okay, that was only one called, so I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 21 is matters of urgencies. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Poole, thank you. Councillor Rawson, thank you. As a seconder, does anybody have any matters of urgency? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 22 is committee of the whole section of the meeting. Can I have a mover and seconder? We move into committee of the whole. Thank you, Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Pearson. All those in favour? Against? Carried. So we go back to item 14, was called into committee of the whole, which is road closure report after advertising of unused section of road reserve adjacent to lots 214, 224, 213 DP 756890. Mover and a second. Moved by Councillor Poole, seconded by Councillor Pearson. All right, discussion.
Fred,
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you go.
Sorry.
Councillor Nash, go first.
okay, well, you know that I'm against leasing or selling this road as it's in between two roads, and I just still can't see, like if you have one person that doesn't want it, I don't see why it's being done, and there's more than one person that doesn't want it. The emergency access, the recreation, and it's just a practical mean of leaving the area if there's a problem, and the mining exploration may happen, so why lease it at all? I'm just against it, that's all. That's my go.
Thank you. Councillor Rawson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm in two minds. Certainly, I agree with the recommendation that we should decline the purchase of this road. I think there is enough reasons why we would want to keep that road corridor under council control at some stage. There may be an opportunity in the future to put a road through there, proper road through there, if the need arose. There's certainly plenty of reasons that have come from not just from staff, but also there was one there from Resources and Energy, I noticed, for example, which suggests that it might become important down the track. So for those reasons alone, I think that purchase is not appropriate. Now, the issue then comes back to the lease. I don't have a particular concern about leasing that section of road as long as there was an ability for neighbours to gain access along that road. So really my question would be, if there was a lease arrangement made, would that preclude anyone else from gaining access to that bit of road? There's certainly plenty of objections there, which I fully understand, and many of those relate to the current activities of people going along that section of road just for walks, riding bikes, that sort of thing. Seems to be commonly used for that purpose. So if a lease was to be created, whether or not we can put a condition that the neighbourhood, the local people who live in the neighbourhood can gain access to it, or does it preclude that, is really the question.
Oh, yeah, look, I'll hand it over to the experts, but I would think that when you lease something, you have control over it. And I know it's a different circumstances, but go back to basics. If you lease a house, the owner cannot just even walk in. If the owner leases out the house, you know what I mean? So without notice. So like under that sort of provision, I would say it would be extremely difficult to put conditions on where you're allowing the public to go across a section of land where you lease it. Because you'd be doing certain things on that land, and you might not want people, I'm not saying illegal things on that land, but you might not want people in there disturbing animals or whatever. But over to the experts, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The
lease of a property would become the exclusive use of the individual undertaking the lease, and it'd be at their discretion of the entry onto the leased portion of land. Council may write into a lease agreement some access provisions. However, I caution council to be careful that anything that is put into a lease agreement needs to be enforceable. So giving access rights to some but not others can be problematic. It also can't be so vague as to provide a free-for-all and not protect the interests and rights of the person undertaking the lease as well. So it can get a bit of an issue there. With regards to emergency access, there are powers that exist from police to direct evacuation through private property, and that has been enacted in other local government areas previously. But again, that's at the discretion of the police in a time of required need, and they don't exercise those freely. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, indeed, thank you. I've got a supplementary, if that's all right. My main concern for that corridor, as I've expressed in the past, is the vegetation along it and the maintenance of a wildlife corridor. So whatever decision is made by council today, whether we lease or not lease, my concern is the long-term management of that strip of land, and we should consider what that looks like. If it's leased, I think we've got assurances from the applicant that they would be managing it as a wildlife corridor. But if we decide not to go down that road, excuse the pun, that I'd want some assurances that we as in council would be maintaining that strip of land as a wildlife corridor.
Yeah, I understand your concerns there, but I guess contract for the lease is signed. I think item 3 here, or recommendation number 3, would be more detailed in that contract, I would think. So this is basic statement there, but I would think that the contract would detail that more.
Mr. Mayor, the intent, the recommendation 3 is to provide an intent to council officers to engage in the contract negotiation for the lease. The council makes it quite clear that no vegetation is to be removed without the express permission of council, and that's what it will be. Anything further in particular that you would like us just to raise it at the table now, we can include it in.
Hypothetically, weed maintenance.
Further, Mr. Mayor, if I can, there's also the provision that council, at its discretion, may terminate the lease at any time. So if there isn't, obviously, if there isn't any intent to follow what council's direction is with regards to the land management and vegetation management, council can call the lease and end it. Also, if there is any further development in regards to mining leases, etc., and it's in the community's interest, or development of the area, then council can, through consideration around the table, determine to end the lease.
Any other questions? Or yep, Councillor Jones. Oh, discussion, comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually speak in favour for the motion that's for the recommendation that's been put forward by council officers. Firstly, we're looking to lease it out for 5 years with a 5-year option, and as has been said, council's discretion. Still, if need be, that we could take it back to form a road, or if there was the mining exploration submitted. It's an unmaintained and undeveloped track at the moment. According, the council report doesn't even call it a road; it refers to it as a track. So, I suppose, in terms of its current state and emergency service vehicles such as ambulances accessing it, it probably isn't up to a standard for some of those vehicles. Obviously, RFS, it would be up you know, they could get through, but, you know, other emergency services couldn't. So I don't see it as any, at this stage, and again, we always have the right to come back, but as any strategic importance to council. And if we do decide to not go ahead with the lease today, the question has to be, where are we going to find the funds to maintain it when the community do come knocking upon our door? Well, to form it up to start with, and then to maintain it when the community does come knocking on our door, for it to be improved. I just think in terms of, in terms of the environmental and vegetation matters that have been raised by Councillor Pearson, Councillor Rawson, you know, again, as a large shire, we probably can't look after the vegetation, look after the biosecurity risks, look after, you know, the illegal dumping as well as if it was leased for a short amount, or for that period of time, as what a private owner could do.
Councillor Nash.
I'd just like to say something else, like people can dump rubbish in any reserve, that they do. I just find that with all the complaints, all the people that have said they don't want it to happen, that's enough for me. And it's going to cost the council money to go out there and do what they've said they're going to do anyway, keep an eye on it, do a lease and all these things. So why not just do a road through there? I just don't agree with it because of the people that live there, do not want it, and for me that's enough.
Thank you. Any further comments, discussion at all? All right, I will put this. All those in favour, say aye. Against? No. Don't need to show of hands here now. All right, all those in favour? Favour? One, two, three, four, five. Against? 5-4. Carried. Oh, there's one missing. Can't be. Must be 4-all. 5-3. I've kicked him. Yeah, 5-3. Go against again. That's against. 3, yeah. 5-3. Thank you, everybody. Item 18 is development application 2025/0038, centre-based childcare facility 70 Rod Street, Canowindra. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Poole, seconded by Councillor Pearson. Discussion. Councillor Whitman.
Yes, Mr Mayor. I can understand the need for childcare. I just believe this is in the wrong place. I think it's in a dangerous area. It's right on the four ways with heavy vehicles, heavy trucks manoeuvring around a corner, trucks manoeuvring out of tyre service area. And I also have in my mind this particular facility would need delivery trucks to deliver goods, supplies, food. How does that work? Where are they going to go to park? And I just don't like the idea of having the curbside parking area. I just think it's on a dangerous corner, and I get worried that, you know, things could go awry there, and the little kid runs out of that facility, or a child is walking home from school down that particular area. It's dangerous, you know, the trucks and everything that are going through that area. So I Although I know that we need childcare in Canowindra, I just think it's a bad place to have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Batt.
Yeah, I think I'll speak in favour while I accept what Councillor Weaver said and I share her concerns. I think there's some critical aspects in this that we need to know. Development application is recommended subject to conditions being met. One of those conditions is the setback parking area that is proposed to have to address the shortfall in parking on site. Now, in that condition, it states at the cost of the developer. That should not be negotiable in any way, shape or form, in my view. If the developer is not prepared to accept that condition, then council should not, we should not pay for it. And therefore, I think we need to come back to council for further consideration if that developer attempts in any way to get out of actually paying for that setback parking area in Bullabula Way.
Yep, thank you, Councillor Batt. Councillor Paul.
Yes, thank you. So agree with Councillor Weaver to start with. It is a horrid corner. So 2 weeks ago or a month ago, I was certainly against it, but I'll speak for it now. I really appreciate what staff have done to get that proposed drop-off area off the road. It's actually going to be up on the path, so it's an extra lane where that's going to be. So with that, I'm happy to vote for it and support it.
Councillor Nash.
Yeah, I would just like to speak in favour of what Jenny said, that it's a very bad position. I just wish that they could have found or been pushed towards another area, that's all.
All right, any other discussion? Councillor Rawson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, look, I agree. It's not in the right spot. I think the sentiment has always been from the beginning that Canowindra needs a childcare centre. I think we all agree with that we should actively pursue that. However, this location is really very bad, and I've been there on many, many occasions where I would be scared having the school children, and there's the high school children who go past that point and cross the road at that point, and I'm sometimes scared for them. And then, okay, you throw a bunch of 3-year-olds into the mix, and in that location, it just scares me. It really does. I also appreciate the work that the staff have done to come up with a compromise solution. I think it's a reasonably good solution, but it is to rectify what should have been the total number of car spaces off-site. It's sort of a cobbled together out of necessity situation, which I think doesn't completely remove the concern that I have about the location. It's a good go. It's a good attempt, and yes, perhaps if we agreed to that should happen. So look, I'm going to vote against it. Sorry for those reasons. I don't have any other legislative reason or planning reason or any of those things. We've got to come up with a reason why we want that, other than just cold, hard experience and I don't even live in Canowindra, but I do travel through that way a lot, and that intersection scares me.
Any further discussion? All right, before I put this, you hit a key factor there. We need awful reason to object to it. So just the fact that the bad location doesn't fit. So when you're thinking about voting against this, you need a reason. So, yep, Councillor.
despite the change in the conditions, those conditions are to try and rectify the original problem with that site, which was it didn't meet the regulations for the requirement for parking, off-site parking.
I'll tell you that Cabon has no regulation for off-street parking.
No policy. Oh, okay, I'll take that back. I didn't know. I thought that was about time we had one.
I've got one now. Look, to pass a comment, I understand totally where everybody's coming from who suggests that it's a dangerous position. Totally. The only thing in its favour in the intersection is that generally all that traffic should be slowing. And I know accidents can happen with slow moving vehicles, but that's one advantage it has got. And if you think about some of the locations where we have, where children are active, or walking, or playing, they're on major intersections where we've got trucks going past. So, as I said, to think about what we're thinking about here is that the fact that it's not a good location. There's a number of places. Look at Kidal, it's on the main road. It's on a corner. They don't have off-street parking. All of their parking's on the street. So I understand totally where everybody's coming from and want the children protected. But the application has got some off-street parking, and there's an alternative, and I agree totally with Councillor Batten. The applicant should be responsible for that. Well, not just council. I'm not trying, I'm just passing comment here. I'm just saying that we've got our own risks at some of our locations as well. And they've got to manage the risk, no doubt in the world. I pass that comment to you to say that we have to come up with a lawful reason. Off-street parking is not one. So, throw it back to comment. Councillor Weaver.
Yes, if I could just make a comment. I think I get very emotional when I think about this because I live on that road, I know the traffic, I understand where you're coming from, but I totally agree with what Councillor Batten said, that if this passes, and it's probably going to pass, that the off-street parking or the curbside parking, whatever you call it, is on, the onus is on them to put that in and meet all the demands that it needs. I know that they're going to have trouble with telecom, water, sewerage, a whole lot. So I will be really disappointed to see it go through, but I believe that it will go through. It meets all the criteria other than that. And I just want to make my opinion known that I don't think it's a good place to have it. There's plenty of other places around Canowindra that it could have been. It's not. It's on that corner. So if it meets everything, that's where we stand. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Paul.
Yeah, just to support your comments earlier, Mr. Mayor, we've all sat in risk assessment workshops and you can't get rid of the entire risk, but again, I think what staff have done by producing an extra lane, we're certainly minimising the risk there. And one thing you got to remember, it's a horrid corner as it is with people driving legally, but once you put the extra lane in there, people have to follow the law. People have to drive to the speed limit, etc. So we're doing what we can.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comment at all? No. Yeah, so it's not a lane, it's a park and ducking, you know, like a, well, best to describe as, what do you call it? Kiss and drop or something?
I know exactly what it is, but to me, it's space off the road. It's like an extra lane.
Off
Yeah,
the road parking type.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any further discussion? All right. I'll put that, and this is a division, so I need a show of hands. All those in favour? Against? Oh, all in favour? You in favour? You come around. In favour? All in favour again? Against? That's unanimous. So, thank you, everybody. Good discussion. Item 23 is in the supplementary. So item 23, integrated planning and reporting, 2025-26. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by councillor Poole, seconded by councillor Pearson. Discussion. Not there. Councillor Jones?
I can just, while we're downloading, filibuster, speak for this recommendation, being the delivery plan, the operational plan, and the longer-term resources strategy. And just to say that obviously, as a council, most of us have been here for a couple of rodeos, but yeah, I think this is something we've been working together and with our community for a number of years. And it really outlines, A, what we're going to do over the next 12-month period, but more strategically, what we hope to achieve for our community and for the organisation in the longer term. We do have a number of challenges in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, local government having a number of long-term, a number of broader financial challenges, and we're not immune to that here, but what it does is continues to deliver for our communities, continues to work towards the recovery of our communities, and also looks internally at our organisation and how we can go, and coming back to that initial plan of becoming the best rural council. So I'm still downloading, but that's all I got. Sorry.
Thank you. Couldn't talk a bit longer?
I have a question, Mr Mayor, of the General Manager. It's fascinating reading, there's no doubt about it. And the staff should be commended for the depth of work and been put into it. I was fascinated to read actually in the finance section, that the chief financial officer section in there where you're going to adopt the long-term financial plan annually. Are you expecting that we will ratify that or adopt it, changes to the long-term financial plan on an annual basis? 1.2.3 in the finance section it is.
You mean with changes every year? Yeah, we update it every year because things change. A lot of councils may tend to leave them for every 4 years, but the CFO and I know, moreover, that that's very much our guiding principles, because things do rapidly change with grants and decisions by state government, which we've just talked about. So, yeah, that's definitely why we do it annually.
Thank you. And the only organisation I know that would ever do it.
Councillor Nash.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the staff. It's it's very, very big reading, but it's quite interesting, yeah. The only thing I saw in the fees and charges were that the organisation that runs the hall and that sets the fees, not the council. Did you see that? Is that right? So, yeah, 355, that's it. I thought that they had to follow what the council sets. Is that right?
Well, through you, Mr Mayor, by putting it in our fees and charges, council is setting what they've recommended that be. So, does that make sense? So, if we have a problem with their fees and charges, council can go to them and have a discussion about what that is. But so technically, by us passing these fees and charges, we are accepting those fees and charges of the 355, because you're quite right, council technically sets like the charges, but we accept, at this point, we're accepting what the 355 committee may recommend to us to charge for that hall. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah, it just seems a little bit screw with to me. I think that they should have to follow what is set by the council. It's not just have people come up there and say, oh, we'll charge $600 for the hall for one day. You know, I think really we should be directing them to how much they can charge.
through you, Mr Mayor, we can look at that, but as a 355 obviously conducts a function of council, managing that hall. So at the point, but equally council, as we're just discussing, sets the fees and charges legally. So if council wants to consider in the next round of fees and charges having a deeper discussion with the 355s about what they think should be the fair price, we can certainly do that. But obviously the 355s to a degree are the closest to the running of that, so it's can be an interesting conversation about what the fees should be and shouldn't be, given they are actually, even though it's our asset, they are the ones running it. So, but certainly can do that, councillor, and we can put that on the list for next year to sit down with the 355s and go through it with them.
Yeah, thank you. I just don't want anyone being able to run wild, I suppose you'd say, and then the asset does not get used because of the charges. So I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. Thank you very much.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just as a bit of an ad, we are doing a comprehensive review of our fees and charges over the next 12 months. I've spoken to the CFO about that. It is a recommendation in that financial sustainability paper from the state government. So over the next 12 months, whilst we review them, we'll be doing quite an intensive review of all fees and charges across the whole lot and comparing them with other councils to get an idea of whether we're, God help us, undercharging. I know that might be weird for some people to hear if they're listening live, or we could be, if we are indeed overcharging, we might have to look at that. So that's definitely part of the work over the next 12 months, which is a big amount of work when you look at how many fees and charges we have and then trying to compare them across all those councils. But that's what we're going to be doing.
Councillor Webb.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I have to commend the staff for the amount of work that's gone into this. I just think it's a beautifully produced, comprehensive delivery plan that explains everything in layman's terms too, that I can understand. You know, sometimes you can get a bit carried away in these sort of documents with words, and it's very hard to follow. But with this, I think it's simple. You can understand it quite easily, but I think it's a credit to our staff, and I commend them on the efforts they've put into it. And yeah, I think it's a brilliant document, or set of documents actually.
Any further discussion? Councillor Rawson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I concur. I think that the documents are exceptional. They're much better laid out than previous and therefore much more easily understandable. Particularly like the final resourcing strategy document, which is an amalgam of previous other planning instruments, including long-term financial plan. I think what should be noted is the fact that we've achieved, certainly in the next couple of years, this financial situation without having to go to an SRV at this stage. But it's flagged for the future, so it's something that the community is going to need to get their heads around in future years, that an SRV may be on the cards, but at the moment we're in a position where we don't require it, but we will probably in the future. It also highlights the drags on our finances, which is the water and sewer components of what we do, and being on CTW, of course, I'm trying to help that situation in the water space, trying to improve things there, but it'll take quite a while for that to happen. The risk, I particularly like the risk assessments. I've still got concerns about how they were created and how that's that information, how the residual risk was created. But what it has done is it has highlighted areas where we need to look more strategically at. And obviously the water and sewer is one that's been around for quite a while, but this is broken down into a more granular format for us, and it's really helpful for us as councillors as it is for as much as it is for the rest of the community. So I commend the staff for doing that. That's really, really good.
Thank you. Councillor Nash.
Yeah, I just answer Councillor Rawson's question about how the risk was worked out. I think it'd be from people that have experience and have worked it out. And I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Pearson.
I'd like to congratulate and commend the staff for putting together this document. It's easy to read, it's understandable, and I'd just like to congratulate them on such a good job. Thank you.
Yep. All right. I agree totally with everything that everybody has said. Now, most of the people that you are thanking are in the room, so I think that we should give them a round of applause. But also, I am suggesting from the council, that Brad and Heather and Matt put out an email to the staff thanking them for the job that they've done on our behalf. So would everybody agree with that? All right, so you've got a job to do.
Through you, Mr Mayor, we're having the first ever all staff live teams catch up with the GM tomorrow, so I'll be able to
Well, there
pass
you go.
those on in person.
Hot off the
Give me
press.
something to talk about.
Well, you can pass on our thanks to the team. So thank you very much. All right, we dealt with supplementary now. We're out of there and we're back to the board. Oh, we haven't voted. Good thing. Oh, well, I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Against? That's carried. Thank you, everybody. So we will move out of our committee of the whole. Can I have somebody move that we move out of committee of the whole? Councillor Poole moved, seconded by Councillor Weaver. All those in favour? Aye. Against? That's carried. Now we move into our confidential